How's it going, everyone? It is I, Arctic. Today's video we're actually going to be looking at something that I noticed in my comment section. So what I saw in my comment section is that people were wondering about weapons for Albedo. Some of them were choosing weapons that I didn't think would actually work very well with him. So this video, I just want to go over some of the weapons that I think would work personally. I want to go over why some of the weapons that they chose didn't. Person's comment, they said, so what do you think the best sword is for him? Lion's Roar or the Battle Pass sword? Responded, I would not use the Battle Pass sword or Lion's Roar because he is not a DPS. I would also use a Favonius sword and other swords with like energy recharge or something. Also, there are two responses here, so feel free to look through those. Also, check out my Albedo stats and abilities video. I actually did talk about which swords were pretty good for him at the end of it, I believe. But anyway, this one is mostly going to be about which swords are actually good for him. So first off, we're going to start with why the Black Sword, which is the Battle Pass one, isn't very good for him. Now, it does give you crit rate, so I could see it being used. However, it increases damage dealt by normal and charged attacks. Usually you don't even use them if you're on a sub DPS character, so this doesn't really help you that much. Also, I don't know why I was not clicking on these, but the Lion's Roar here. See, this one boosts your attack percentage, and it boosts the exact same rate as the flute. So the flute and this one are pretty interchangeable. I know that I have a account with a Kaching on it, and I switched from the flute to this weapon because this one is honestly way better on Kaching. But anyway, so this one increases damage against enemies affected by Pyro or Electro by 20%. So this is a really good buff for characters like Kaching because usually if you're attacking an enemy, you're either triggering a Pyro reaction with her, or you are just hitting enemies with Electro already procced on them. Why this is not good on Albedo is because it's not really helping you out much, because this is more of a DPS weapon versus something that's actually going to help you out. However, I can see 20% against Pyro or Electro. If you are running Pyro or Electro characters, this could be fine because you could actually be getting 20% extra damage from your defense stats. However, it's boosting your attack percentage, so it's not as good as some other options that we have. Also going to be another sword that is specifically for Albedo pretty much. So this one is the Festering Desire. Now this one is going to give you energy recharge, which is a good stat on Albedo, because if you want to dish out more DPS, you actually want to get your super back faster. So that would be a good thing to have. So let's look at the energy recharge scaling in here. So it goes from 10% all the way up to 45%. Now I think Favonius sword actually scales even higher than that, but I'll have to look when we get to that weapon. The cool thing about this is it increases your elemental skill damage by 16% and an elemental skill crit rate by 6%. So this will be very good on Albedo because it's where most of his damage is coming from. There's rumors also that we're going to be able to get multiple of these with the new event. So I think that this would be a very good weapon to go for because of its 16% boost elemental skill damage. Also at Refinement 5, this is going to be doing 32% extra on Elemental Skill and crit rate by 12% for the Elemental Skill. And you compare an Albedo build with something like 2-piece of the Defender set that boosts your defense percentage by 30%. And you could also run something like Gambler set 2-piece, which would increase your Elemental Skill damage by 20%. So basically you could get up to a 50% damage boost to elemental skill damage, plus you're also getting more defense. So he would be very good with this kind of setup right here. Also, a 3-star option is something like the Harbinger of Dawn. Now this one is a 3-star, so you're not getting as high attack percentage scaling. However, you don't necessarily need attack percentage if you are just running high defense. So this one's going to boost your crit damage percentage, which is really good because then you can run stuff like crit rate and that kind of stuff. Also, if your HP is above 90%, increases crit rate by 14%, and at Refinement 5, you can increase your crit rate by 28%. And now we get to the Favonius sword. Now this is one of my favorite weapons in the game due to its passive ability right here. So crits have a 60% chance to generate small amount of elemental particles, which I think it actually generates 3 elemental particles, but if you run high energy recharge percentage, you're actually increasing the effectiveness of those for your energy consumption. So I think I have gotten mine to where I get about 20 elemental energy from this. So that's about on my Jean. Super uses 80 at base. However, with one of her ascensions, she goes down to 60% usage because she regenerates 20% every time she casts her ultimate. So I've got a refinement 4 on my Jean, so it's going to be a 90% chance, and I also have a pretty good crit rate on her, so I'm pretty much gaining energy pretty constantly. I can get my super up very fast. However, on someone like Albedo, this one actually could be pretty decent also, because if you are going for DPS, having a super ability activated pretty often is going to help you out, because his does scale off of 40, so he's going to be able to use that like 8 seconds faster than Jean is able to use hers. This one at level 90 actually does give you 61% energy recharge, which is higher than the other sword that we were looking at before. So this one can be a pretty decent option for you. And this one is the Iron Sting. This one you can actually forge, so it is a pretty decent option for you. So this one increases your elemental mastery. It also increases your elemental damage whenever you hit elemental damage by 6% for 6 seconds, max 2 secs. So this can occur once every 1 second, so pretty much your Albedo skill is going to be triggering every 2 seconds. So this, you're going to be getting a 12% damage boost for 6 seconds pretty much. Now this does scale off of elemental mastery, so it's not as good as something like energy recharge or crit rate or crit damage. However, at your refinements, if you get to refinement 5, it increases by 12%, so that's a 24% damage boost to your elemental damage. So that includes your E, and it also includes your elemental burst. Royal Longsword would be an okay option. However, I think it's not worth it because you have to actually spend some of the star glitter type stuff, and this one only gives you attack percentage and it gives you crit rate, but whenever you get 5 stacks of it, a crit removes all the stacks. So if you already are building crit rate, this isn't as good of an option. Sacrificial Sword is also another really interesting option. We don't really know if this will actually be able to reset Albedo's E yet because he's not out. However, we will know that pretty soon. However, this one is also a very good option because it gives you energy recharge. Also, being able to reset your skill cooldown, I believe since this actually triggers on every single elemental skill proc, so it's not just cast. So what this means is that each time one of your abilities is hitting every 2 seconds for that 30-second duration, which is how long his ability is, you're actually going to be having a chance to refresh. So even at refinement level 1, this will still be very good on him. If we can actually have 2 of the fields up at the same time, that possibly could increase our damage output by 2. So even if you ran like that other sword with like all of the damage bonuses and Gambler's Set, you could still run Gambler's Set, but what this would do is effectively double your DPS for that ability. Now looking into some of the gold options that we have. The Aquila Favonia, this is more of a DPS one, but increases your attack and that kind of stuff, so if you do have this, it could be good if you want to use him as a DPS. That's pretty much all I'm going to say about that. Summit Shaper is a pretty decent option by itself because he is a Geo character, so he can increase your shield strength. Also, scoring hits on opponent increases attack by 4%, max 5 stacks. And while protected by a shield, attack increase effect is increased by 100%. So this is really going to increase your attack by 8% for every 8 seconds, and you can get up to 5 stacks with that. So that's a pretty good buff to attack damage if you have something like this. Now, probably the best 5-star weapon for him for probably a long time is going to be the Skyward Blade, because this increases your energy recharge. Also increases crit rate by 4%. Gains Sky Piercing Might upon using Elemental Burst. Increases movement speed by 10%, increases attack speed by 10%, and increases the damage of normal and charged attack hits by 20%. So mostly what you're going to be using this for is increased crit rate, and also some of these other benefits from Elemental Burst usage. It kind of helps you out a little bit, but this is a good 5-star weapon if you want to increase your attack percentage. So at level 90, this gives you 55% energy recharge. I still think Favonius Sword is going to be a little bit better for you, actually. But the increased crit rate is pretty nice. And that's it for the weapons that we have for Albedo. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. I definitely try to find video ideas from the comments down below. They definitely help out a lot. But anyway, it's been your boy Phoenix. I'll see you all in the next one. Farewell. I am trying to gain some more subscribers, so if you guys would mind leaving a subscribe down below, that would be very, very helpful. I am currently trying to get to 1,000 subscribers at some point, because then I can actually get monetized and actually be able to do more with my channel. But that would be very nice. Anyway, I appreciate all of you. I respond to your comments, that kind of stuff, so I definitely enjoy seeing those.